Bhagavad Gita is understood as from the Gita Upanishads. Therefore, it is also part of the Shrutis in essence, but when it's adopted and spoken, it is also part of the Smritis also. So it is the commentary on the Shrutis called the Gita Upanishads. And that commentary is given by Krishna in the form of a dialogue with his pure devotee Arjuna, who is enlightened by Krishna through the process of explaining yoga in different expressions of yoga. So the first 6 chapters are more or less giving it an introduction and explaining the importance of working without attachment. More like this is called karma yoga, performing activities and offering the results of the activities to the Lord. But in the beginning of the 6th chapter, Krishna says that out of the two, renunciation of work and activities in devotional service, the activities in bhakti are recommended. Renunciation of work can lead one to bhakti, but bhakti is actually the expression of the soul's relationship with the Lord by offering activities for the pleasure of the Lord under the guidance of the Lord through his representative, the spiritual master. So in the 6th chapter, and of course, Krishna speaks about the different yoga systems. That chapter is called the Yoga Ladder. He speaks about Astanga Yoga, which includes Raja Yoga, Hatha Yoga, and various types of meditation, along with pranayama. But it's rejected as being not practical in this age because people are not qualified to perform the Astanga Yoga system, which was very much adopted by people who were qualified in previous ages. So in this age, it is performing activities for the service of the Lord with a desire to please the Lord. So after going through the whole explanation, which in essence is to, to direct the mind towards the activities of devotional service. And Krishna speaks a lot. In fact, most of the chapter, he speaks about the mind and how to use the mind in the proper way. And the mind is not easy to deal with because the mind is the essence of the activities that we perform. Wherever we place our mind, that's where we are. We might be sitting in one place, but if our mind is somewhere else, that's where we are. So the mind takes you wherever it wants to take you. So the principle of success in any activity, even within the material realm, is to learn how to direct the mind in a certain desired direction, and in this case, towards Krishna in activities of devotion. So Krishna starts off in saying that the mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and the enemy as well. He says that one should elevate themselves by the mind and not degrade himself. The mind, again, he says, is the friend of the conditioned souls and the enemy as well. So learning how to control the mind, and therefore the process of bhakti is to focus on activities which absorb the mind. And therefore, by practicing these activities and learning how to direct the mind towards these activities, one gradually starts to awaken their spiritual consciousness. The activities themselves are the means by which consciousness is awakened, but unless the mind is directed in the proper way. But the mind cannot be directed unless it's purified by or directed by a higher element, which is called the intelligence. The intelligence is the finer part of the mind. It's also part of the mind, but it's the discriminating factor of the mind, which allows one to choose between what is right and what is wrong, what is beneficial, what is not beneficial, what is auspicious, what is inauspicious. So we use our mind in that way and to perform our activities in this material world. So it's very much essential to learn how to control the mind and direct the mind towards Krishna in devotional service. But the mind is conditioned by its attachments in this material world. So the mind will somehow wander away. And therefore, Krishna also says in the 6th chapter, wherever and whenever the mind wanders due to its unsteady and flickering nature, one should bring it under the control of the self. The self means the activities of devotional service, because activities of devotional service are not part of the body or the mind, but they are directed by the mind. And what is being directed? The soul. The soul is being directed in activities that awaken its experience of Krishna through devotional activities. And so that mind has to be guided by higher intelligence. And higher intelligence means Shastra or Guru or Krishna himself. So one who learns how to direct the mind and bring the mind under control by remembering the instructions of the spiritual master and the application of how those instructions should be applied, then one can make nice progress in devotional service. Just like when we're chanting Hare Krishna, we're practicing devotional service through japa, but the mind will go to different places and we'll start thinking about what we have to do later or what we, forgot to do yesterday. In other words, the mind will go hither and thither. And so Krishna explains you bring it back under the control of the self. So one has to be diligent, first of all, to notice the wandering mind, because the mind is so subtle in its wandering that sometimes even after it's been wandering for when we say a while, we notice we're not there. Although we're sounding the Maha Mantra, we're not really connecting to the sound at all because we're not listening. We're more or less somewhere else. And that is called, in Sanskrit, it's called vikshepa. Vikshepa means distraction. The mind gets distracted. So the mind is not easy to control. And Arjuna, in the same 6th chapter, when Krishna is speaking about the importance of controlling the mind, Arjuna says, Chanchalam himana Krishna pramati balavadridha tasyaham nivgamam manye maya vayor idam saduskaram. That Arjuna is saying to Krishna, you're asking me to control the mind, but I think it's like trying to control the wind. It's unsteady, flickering, very difficult to control. And Krishna acknowledges the fact that what Arjuna is saying is true. But then he gives the formula in the next verse, Abhyasena tukunteya vairagyana chigriyate, that by constant practice and to control the mind and direct the mind. But there is another factor, is that as long as we are still looking for happiness in material life, it will be very difficult to control the mind not difficult, impossible in spiritual life, because the mind will divert itself to material things. And if we have desires to fulfill these material desires, then that mind will become very strong and very obstinate, because that desire to fulfill it will make it very difficult for us to focus and concentrate. Because bhakti means to direct the mind towards Krishna and keep it there. But to keep it there is not so easy. Therefore, one has to practice that. Therefore, Krishna says that one has to bring it back. Whenever and wherever the mind wanders, bring it back, bring it back, and bring it back, especially in japa, or sometimes even when we're reading, the mind wanders. So there is formulas by which we can adopt to help facilitate mind control. But the essence is that one has to understand that this material world is contrary to spiritual life. Not that we can't become Krishna conscious here, but we cannot become Krishna conscious if we're still trying to enjoy the material world. It's not possible. So Srila Prabhupada would say, one has to give up this desire for material enjoyment and focus on the essence of life, that which will bring real satisfaction, happiness, and success in life, and that is bhakti yoga. And then Krishna ends the chapter by saying, "He who abides in me in great and transcendental faith is ultimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all." So that's the bhakti yoga. So that sixth chapter is very important or fundamental in learning the techniques, because Krishna speaks very practically. He says, one who eats too much or eats too little, sleeps too much or sleeps too little, cannot perform the yoga system. So regulating the bodily activities is very important. In the Bhagavatam, it's explained also that one should learn to hear the message of Krishna and Krishna's message coming through either Shastra or Guru with rapt attention, that attention that is not deviated. But then Prabhupada goes on to explain that one cannot have rapt attention unless one is pure in mind. And then he goes on to say, and one cannot be pure in mind unless they're pure in action. And then he concludes by saying, and one cannot be pure in action unless they're pure in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, which are the four basic bodily activities. So one should regulate them in such a way that we use them only for what they are intended to. Everything has to be regulated, especially these activities. And if they're not, it'll become very hard, not very hard, practically impossible to stay fixed in bhakti by keeping the mind attached to Krishna, or at least focused on Krishna. The attachment will come as we focus. We want to get attached to Krishna because getting attached to Krishna is the goal of bhakti. What is that attachment? That Krishna becomes the most important activity in our life. Whatever we do, we try to offer it to Krishna. Whatever we say, we try to glorify Krishna or the process by which Krishna is understood, which is the process of bhakti. In other words, life is molded in such a way that all activities all are geared towards awakening our attraction for and attachment to Krishna. That is bhakti yoga. And if we mix it in with material activities, then, or we don't regulate our material activities in such a way that they do not interfere with our devotional service. And that's the main point. Everything we do, such as reading the Shastras, such as worshiping the deity in the temple, such as associating and serving Vaishnavas, such as taking Krishna Prasadam, or any of the activities in devotional service, they're all meant to purify us so we can come to the platform of focusing our attention fully on Krishna. And that is Krishna consciousness. We say Krishna conscious or consciousness of Krishna. It's not simply an activity, it's a state of consciousness. And so the Bhagavad Gita, especially the sixth chapter, really emphasizes how that mind should be directed. And then Krishna, towards the end of the chapter, he explains, but even if one endeavors throughout their life, but somehow or other doesn't become successful in devotional service, still there's some material attachments there, then because they've tried their best, in other words, they endeavored in the right way but didn't make it, then Krishna says, Suchinam Sivatam Gehe Yoga Brasta Pradayate, that person will come back in the next life, take birth in the family of devotees, or in a rich mercantile family where they don't have to struggle in order to live in this material world. And they can begin where they left off. Material activities end when the body ends, and whatever you've gained, you lose. No, there's nothing left. Whatever we achieve in this material world is lost in time. But in devotional service, whatever service you do, even in the small, even in, some simple service such as cleaning pots or, you know, cutting vegetables or something, any service that's done for Krishna has what's called, it's called spiritual credits. Those credits multiply in amount, and at the time of death, they stay with you into your next life. So if you become 50% Krishna conscious in this life, you can start 50% in your next life. Of course, this is concessionary. It's not the goal. The goal is actually to become fully Krishna conscious in this life. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has made the process easy. When Krishna was here 5,000 years ago, he said, Sarva Dharma Pradikshit Mamekam Sarabham Vraja, Aham Tvam Sarvapapebhyo Moksha Yashyami Masuchaha. He said, surrender to me fully. Don't think you can become successful by any other means. Give up all other ideas how you can be successful and simply take shelter of me and be guided by me through my spiritual representative, the spiritual master. But Prabhupada explains that Krishna reflected on what he said, and then he realized he made it too difficult, especially for people in the age of Kali, because in this age of Kali, we don't have any good qualities. Those good qualities develop in course of devotional service. Therefore, it says, Manda sumanda mateo manya bhaga upadritaha. In this age of Kali, people are lazy, misguided, unlucky, and always disturbed. That is the character, the personality description of people in this age. So that also is there. So therefore, Lord Chaitanya, who's Krishna himself, came again to make the process easy. Not only easy, it's almost ridiculously easy. And he said, just chant Hare Krishna, that's all. And offer your food, associate with devotees, read some books, and make your life one with devotion to Krishna. That's all. He made it simple, but he emphasized the chanting of the holy name. As Srila Sukadev Goswami explains, in the 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, after introducing the deficiencies in this age of Kali, he comes up and he ends one particular chapter by saying, Kalir doshani di rajan asti eko mahagun kirtana evi krishnasya mukta sangam apradamba jet. He says that this age is full of faults, so many faults on all levels of existence, from the individual level to the international level. There's different levels of problems. People are harassed constantly in this age. And therefore, what to do? But then the verse goes on to explain that there's one great boon, Asti Eka. What is that boon? Kirtana Eva Krishna, chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, which can push back and fully destroy the effects of Kali. We may not fully understand the power of the Hare Krishna mantra, but it is Krishna himself in transcendental sound. As Lord Chaitanya says, Nija Sarva Shaktis, all of the energies, all of the qualities, all of the forms, all of the pastimes, all of the nomenclature, everything that's makes up the absolute truth is within the name of Krishna. It's non-different than Krishna. So one cannot really describe the holy name or the glories of the holy name, nor the benefits that one can get from the holy name, but one can experience it through regular chanting of the holy name, avoiding the 10 offenses, and associating and serving Vaishnavas. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu emphasized these things as the essence of Krishna consciousness. So many activities we may perform. But what did he emphasize? Chanting, dancing, associating with, and serving Vaishnavas. These are the things that he emphasized. And he said, if you do that, you'll also be inspired to give this mercy to others, and that is called Jiva Doya, showing compassion to the fallen souls. So this process centers around the holy name of the Lord. And it cannot be emphasized enough how important the holy name is. As if you read the 7th chapter of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, it just glorifies the holy name in so many different ways. And Prabhupada, when he's speaking about the success of our movement around the world, he said it's all based on the chanting of the holy name. And that is not some euphemism or some hyperbole to make us feel good. It's actually a fact that Prabhupada started this movement by chanting, and I was just talking to one of Prabhupada's senior disciples, my godbrother, Shrutakirti, and he was telling me just today, he was saying that Prabhupada had said that I've written all of these books just to get the devotees to chant Hare Krishna. That's the basis of it. So here we get to the essence of everything. And so, but of course, there's other activities which are supportive of the chanting of the holy name, but everything centers around Krishna's holy name. And so, as we read the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna makes the point over and over again, it is devotion to him. And then he concludes, just before he asks for everyone to surrender, he concludes in the previous verse, Manmana bhava madbhakta mam yuji mam namaskuru mam evaisansi satyam te pratijana priyosi me. Always think of me. He doesn't say think of me. He says always think of me. Become my devotee. Worship me. Offer your homage to me. And then Prabhupada said, these 4 things comprise the entire principle of Bhakti Yoga. To always think of Krishna, we can do that by chanting the holy names of the Lord. To become his devotee by performing practical activities for the pleasure of the Lord under the guidance of the Lord's representative. To worship the Lord in his deity form in the temple in different ways, archanam, puja, and offering obeisances. That is called dandavats, or obeisances, getting down and putting our head on the floor in a way of submission to the Lord and to the process of devotional service. And then he ends by saying, Arjun, I'm not, because you're so dear to me, I'm giving you everything in these 4 things. So this is the essence. If we understand the essence, then we can understand how we can reach that level of bhakti. But bhakti requires continuous cultivation. Bhakti is not a part-time activity. It has to be done continuously. Otherwise, if we break bhakti, then we also, again, start to slide back into material consciousness again. Of course, we have material responsibilities with family and occupation, but that's also dealt with in the Shastras as Krishna says, Yat karosi yaranasi yat dadosi dadasi yat tapasi tukuntayat tad kurusham arpanama. All that you do, all that you eat, all that you honor and give away, as well as all austerities you may perform, should be done as an offering to me. He emphasizes that. So make your life one with the Lord by doing everything for the pleasure of the Lord. And that science is learned through the guidance of the spiritual master. Okay, so I'll stop there.
Thank you very much, Maharaj, for summarizing 6 to 9 chapters. Anyone has questions, comments? Amrutam, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisance, all Guru Shri Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for having this class, Maharaj. Maharaj, my question is that, yes, we follow all the regulative principles, also the ABCD of Krishna consciousness, association, books, chanting, deity worship, diet, doing it over a period of time. But still, as you mentioned, all this is Prabhupada's books so that we could chant properly. The mind is so restless. You try pulling it, it becomes like a losing battle, Maharaj. So there is obviously something wrong that I know at least I am doing. It becomes so overwhelming. And then the process of chanting is simply because we've taken a vow to chant. And then it rushes to, let's finish the minimum of 16 rounds. So, what is it that we can do to get out of this quicksand, Maharaj?
Serve Vaishnavas. By serving Vaishnavas, you'll get the mercy of the Lord in the form of the holy name. That will help you to actually cultivate your chanting even more and more. Because as we mentioned, Lord Chaitanya mentions the two things. Serving Vaishnava is not something you do when it becomes convenient. Serving Vaishnavism is a proactive principle. One has to make plans. One has to be active in trying to serve the Vaishnavas. That will purify the consciousness and put us back into the position of who we are. We're actually eternal servants of the Lord, but we can't serve the Lord directly. We can only serve the Lord through his representatives, either the spiritual master or those who are in association with the process of devotional service. That's one element. There are so many answers to your inquiry, but that's the essence. Is if we can combine these two things equally, chanting and serving Vaishnavas, it becomes easy, and actually it becomes joyful, because our nature is to serve anyway. So we have to serve. So if we're serving Krishna through serving his devotees, as Krishna says, one who says he's my devotee is not my devotee. But one who says he's a devotee of my devotee is actually my devotee. Find ways to serve the devotees, the spiritual master. And even the best way to serve the spiritual master is also to preach Krishna consciousness to the non-devotees. That's also service to the Vaishnavas. That's called Jiva Doya, mercy, giving the compassionate nature of Krishna in the form of transcendental knowledge to the conditioned souls. So all of these things combined help to purify the consciousness, where it becomes more, Krishna's mercy becomes more available when we chant the holy name. Krishna wants to see, if we're just, worshiping him to see what we can get from it. But when we're worshiping him in order to please him, by pleasing those who are connected with him, that is the higher form of worship. And that is the recommended. That is the process of Krishna consciousness as given by Lord Chaitanya.
Thank you, Maharaj. So we could serve the Vaishnavas more and more, whatever. It could be the spiritual master, or it could even be the devotees in our temple, our congregation, the senior devotees.
Yeah. Always see the good qualities of all the devotees, because devotees have good qualities. So we can be inspired by the association of devotees when we see all of their good qualities. Look for that.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, there is a question in the chat by Sudhakar Bellampur.
By who?
Sudhakar Bellampur in the chat.
Oh, in the chat. Okay.
Bhagavad Gita 8:13 is quoting the Prabhupada purport. Whether they will attain it. One can attain spiritual world by chanting Om, as mentioned by Supreme Lord Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. If one thinks of Supreme Personality of Godhead and quits his body, he will certainly reach the spiritual planets.
Well, Om is
very clear.
Om is the absolute truth, but it's the impersonal manifestation. It doesn't indicate a person. So Om is the impersonal manifestation of the chanting of Hare Krishna. That's what it is. So if you want to chant Om, you can do that, but it'll take forever. If you chant Hare Krishna, it's Lord Chaitanya encouraged us and emphasized chanting of the holy name, the personal aspect, Krishna. So Om is the absolute truth in impersonal manifestation. But we're personalists, we're not impersonalists. So we don't follow the impersonal process. But if you're going to chant Om, you're going to have to adopt many of the other processes that also are connected with the chanting of Om, whereas chanting Hare Krishna is complete in itself. So you have, although it speaks like that in the Shastras, you have to understand things within the broader context. But don't take forever. Chant Hare Krishna, and you can go directly instead of, you can go to your nose by putting your hand around your head and coming out the other side, but you can go to your nose directly. So the Om process is there, but it's more indirect. Krishna explains that in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita.
Anyone else has questions, comments? Like
We have a nice group. We had up to 48 people here. Now we have 46, but anyway, that's pretty good.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for your association.
Okay. Any more questions, comments?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, this is a little personal Amritanand here. Maharaj, when are you planning to come to New Jersey, if at all? We'd love to serve you, Maharaj. Missing you. It's been so long.
I used to stay at your house, didn't I?
So many years back, Maharaj.
Yeah. Now I'm in Govardhan Echo Village in just north of Mumbai. The prize development of your spiritual master, Radha Swami. He's here also.
Hey, Krishna.
Yeah, he's here. I'll probably see him in about a half hour.
Yay.
Yeah, so coming to New Jersey. Wow. Are you going to you come to Sadhu Sangha in Orlando this year?
Yes, Maharaj, I will come.
It's on the
I will
east.
come in that direction.
Yeah, it's on the East Coast this year.
Yes.
So if you come, I'll meet you there. Sadhu Sangha.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you for everything, Maharaj. Thank you.
Thank you for all of your kindness you showed to me over the years.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
There is a message in the group chat. How can we prioritize the chanting of Maha Mantra over all the mundane activities? Hemangi Mata.
Yeah, do it the first thing in the morning. When you get up, after you take care of your personal bodily needs, then put everything else aside. Take that cell phone and don't put it on silent mode, put it on shut off completely. Leave it off and chant. That is a very powerful way to actually really push your Krishna consciousness forward. Early japa. If you can do 16 rounds before breakfast, that would be ideal. But try to chant as much as you can, at least minimum 12 rounds before breakfast. But I would even say 16 is even, I recommend 16. And then your consciousness is somewhat fortified with the mercy of the holy name, and you can deal with the activities that you experience throughout the day much more successfully and easily, and it'll be easy to remember Krishna throughout the day. When we put our japa later in the day, it's not the same. It's not the same. There's a qualitative difference in our Krishna consciousness. Chant early. Okay. Thank you, Krishna Nam.
Thank you, Maharaj. We're grateful for you. Hopefully, we'll see you here in New Jersey. So,
It's been a while.
yeah,
Is Devaki Nandana still around?
yes, Prabhu is there.
Oh, there he is.
He's there. Here.
That smiling face there. Haribol Devaki. Yeah. Take yourself off mute. You're on mute.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Haribol.
Thank you so much for your blessings and your association for so many years. We are waiting for you in New Jersey.
I was born in New Jersey.
Yes, yes.
It's been a while since I've been back there.
Yes. It's long due.
Well, I always remember your wife's paradas. They were the best.
We're waiting to serve you.
Once in a while I come in contact with one of your sons. I'm not sure. I think it's the younger one.
Younger one, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. He's really enthusiastic.
Yes, yes. If Krishna willing, we will have your darshan in Sadhu Sangha.
Yeah. I'm going to try to be there. That's my plan anyway. Let's see.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for everything, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavad, dandavad.
Okay.
Patita.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah.
Gaur Premanandi. Hari 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 Bol. So thank you, Krishna Nam, for the opportunity.
Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namaha.
Jai. Chandramouli Maharaj ki jai.
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 Radhe Radhe.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you for your blessings.
Thursday is quick announcements. This Thursday is Ekadasi, Safala Ekadasi. 31st is Loknath Goswami's, Lochandas Thakur's appearance. January 2nd is disappearance day of Jiva Goswami. So those are the important dates to remember. And December 25th, we have Christmas special feast from Govindas. So please sign up, register. So those are the quick announcements.
Hare Krishna.
Was it fasting on the appearance day?
Hare Krishna?
Are we fasting, Prabhu, for the appearance days?
No, those are, no. Generally up to Jagannath Babaji, generally. Otherwise, every day you'll have to fast. So that's it is not given. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Hare Bol. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, Babaji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna. Thank you.